Howdy, y'all. I'm digging that walk-up music. Loving that. Well, I hope that y'all are having a good morning. I'm Marc Veasey, Congressman from the 33rd Congressional District in the great state of Texas. If you're wondering where the 33rd District is, it's Fort Worth. I live in Fort Worth. It's Fort Worth and Dallas. And so we're going through a little bit of mid-decade redistricting right now. And so things are kind of a little bit turbulent. But I think that we're going to get through it all right. So I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you to Heather and the entire National Clean Energy team for the invitation to be here today. This is really awesome to join you, to be in front of so many distinguished business leaders that are working in this area, trying to come together to find solutions to all of these issues. I think are hugely important. We have to figure out ways that we can continue to collaborate, that we can continue to figure out ways how we're going to be innovative during this time. I think that the points that Representative Siscomani just made about China is hugely important because this is a very competitive field. And this is the clean energy sector is a sector that they are going to try to beat us in and they're going to try to dominate in. And we need to take that very, very seriously. Now is not the time to retreat and play favorites. We really do have to have an all of the above approach. And speaking of all of the above approach, I'm very proud to be a Texan because I think that we probably do all of the above better than anyone else. I think that that is easily proven. And one of the things that I even remind my fellow Democrats on Capitol Hill when they say, well, you're from Texas, you're from an oil and gas state. And I remind them that you do realize that in the state of Texas, that we produce more renewable energy on ERCOT, a greater percentage of renewable energy on ERCOT than the entire European Union. So I want you to think about that for a quick second when you say that Texas is only an oil and gas state. And one of the things that I've tried to do as a member of Congress and a member of the Energy and Commerce Committee is really just take away those sort of black and white arguments that have been made for so long over the years. Because if you talk about it that way, well, you're from Texas, you're from an oil and gas state, and just ignore the fact that we're the dominant player when it comes to wind, and we're such a dominant player when it comes to solar. If you just ignore that, then you truly are setting it up like it's some sort of a sporting competition where it's the Cowboys versus the Eagles. And if you're going to talk about it that way, I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm always going to be for the Cowboys, right? I'm never going to be for the Eagles. And so we have to stop talking about energy like it's us versus them. I had a very interesting conversation with some technology people in the San Francisco area last year, and they were asking me what can they do to roll out some and deploy some of these technologies without it being controversial. And I told them, I said, you can't talk about it like it's like you're doing some sort of moral, type deal, because that's part of the whole culture war deal around energy, and that's what makes it so divisive. And we have to figure out a way how we get past all of that and start talking about these things as advantages that all people in a larger universe of people in the United States can really get behind. And so my outlook on energy policy is truly shaped by this reality. And I believe that we are facing three fundamental challenges, and that is ensuring our national security, making sure that this country has the energy security that is needed. And you don't have to look throughout that far back into history to understand what a key topic energy is and how important it is when it comes to our national security, bolstering our economic competitiveness. I talked about the China issue earlier. We want to make sure that we are leading in this area and that Europe and other countries, India, that would like to clean up their air quality there, that we don't let China lead in this area. That would be a huge mistake. And of course, protecting our environment for future generations to come. I think that one of the areas that I'm very proud of that I've worked on, and again, I wish that we could find more bipartisan moments to talk about this. As a Texan, I love the great outdoors. I love to go hunting. I love to go hiking. I love to do things like that. We want to make sure that we have clean air and clean water to do things like fish in. Who wants to fish in some dirty water? Who wants to go hunting with dirty, smoggy air all around them? It should be easy for all of us to want to work on these things together without them becoming these markers in the cultural war. For Texans, I will tell you how we're uniquely situated with ERCOT and us having our own grid. When it comes to the issue of energy security, we got to see in 2021 just how serious that is with Winter Storm Uri. And because our temperatures are very mild in Texas, even during the winters, we have relatively mild winters, we're not really equipped for those types of winters. And so a lot of our natural gas infrastructure, a lot of our oil and gas infrastructure, a lot of those things aren't enclosed like they are in the Northeast to endure harsh winters. And so we got to see up close in front what it was like to almost be within literally a minute and like 30 plus seconds from the entire grid, ERCOT just shutting down. And it would have taken us years to recover from that, and it would have been an absolute calamity. And so we understand that we have to not only have strong natural gas and wind and make sure that natural gas and traditional hydrocarbon production and make sure that those platforms are secured, but we also have to do more to make sure that our wind and solar platforms are winterized and secured properly. And again, that they're going to be able to work and keep the Texas economy going and be strong for the future. And so that means more wind and solar paired with advanced storage capacity. And it also means for Texas that we continue to invest in our nuclear fleet. Comanche Peak is not too far from my house in Fort Worth, but we could use more nuclear capacity, more nuclear technology deployed in the state of Texas, because we're going to continue to be a magnet for population growth. Even with a downturn in the economy and a slowdown in the economy, Texas is going to continue to grow. Texas is not going to stop growing. Even if we have a slowdown, people are still going to see the Lone Star State as the place to come for future opportunity, because we are doing well in so many of these areas around energy and technology and many other capacities. And so we have to figure that out for our own state. And so, I just wanted to talk about that because I think it's important. I also want to focus on deployment and innovation. First, we have to get better and faster at deploying these cleaner energy technologies that I talked about before. We have the tools, and thanks to recent federal investments, we have provided the long-term policy certainty that industry needs to go out and build. Now we have to ensure the implementation is effective, and that means tackling the biggest deployment, and that's permitting. We absolutely have to do something about permitting reform, and I do think that there is a bipartisan spirit on the Energy and Commerce Committee to be able to get something done. As part of the New Dem task force in the New Dem coalition in the House Democratic Caucus, I believe that a majority of New Dem members are definitely behind doing something around permitting reform. The processes for critical infrastructure like transmission line really do stand in the way for energy security that I talked about earlier, and also meeting a lot of those environmental goals that are hugely important. We need a common sense bipartisan approach to permitting reform that makes it faster and more predictable to build in America. And second, we have to accelerate the innovation that will unlock cleaner energy solutions of tomorrow. And so I'm talking about technologies like improved hydrogen, which can decarbonize heavy industry and transportation, long duration storage that can keep our grid running for days, not just for hours, but for days, and advanced nuclear reactors that promise safe, reliable, and carbon-free power with a much smaller footprint. And government absolutely does have a role to play in this. We need to be on the forefront of making sure that we're supporting people in the innovation space. That's been the story of America, that the government has been a helper. But at the end of the day, it truly is going to come down to the private sector and industry leaders that are in this room today to make sure that we're able to bring these technologies to scale so they can be a part of America's cleaner, America's reliable and more affordable energy deployment as we start having more serious conversations around this topic, and not the us versus them. And there's going to be a existential threat if we're not 100% renewable in 2 years, or nobody wants these cars, like those sort of silly black and white, arguments that happen right now on Capitol Hill are really destructive in this process, and they hold America back. And so we have to figure out how we're going to start talking about all of these things a lot differently. So with that, thank you for having me. I hope I have some really cool walk-off music, as cool as the walk-on music was, and thank you for having me.